A sampler track is very similar to an instrument track, but instead of playing a virtual instrument, it can play any WAV file that you have on your computer or in any of the sound libraries that come with Cubase. Let's go ahead and add one sampler track to our project. I'm going to right or control click on the track list. I'm going to choose Add Sampler Track. And all you can do here is add a name. So I'm just going to add Choir, and I'm just going to add the one instance of this sampler track. And then when I add that, you'll notice that the lower zone changes to the Sampler Control tab. So you could drag audio from your computer into this window, or let's go to our Media tab here and click on the Home button, then choose Loops and Samples, and then there's a library called Kaleidoscope that has a whole bunch of WAV files in it that are created for using on the sampler track. So click on that, and then you've got your browser here, and then you could go to Choir, and here's a whole bunch of choirs right here, and let's audition some of these. If I click on the Voxscape 1, it automatically plays, because down here there's a place to audition the sound. And if you have this little button on, then it automatically plays the results. So let's try a different sound. That's kind of nice. And now I'm going to click and drag that file onto the sampler control window, and it loads that sound onto the sampler track. And since sampler tracks are recorded by MIDI, let's go ahead and play our MIDI keyboard, but we will need to make sure that our sampler track is record enabled. And now I'll play some notes on the MIDI keyboard. And I like everything about that except that the sound kind of dies quickly. So you can program this just like you can a sampler. Let's come to the amplifier section and click on the Mod button, and then let's increase the release time. Here it is before we made the edit. And then I'm going to lift off and you'll hear the release. See, it's just kind of short. So I'm going to drag that out so that it lasts, well, let's see, there's about 3/4 of a second. I'm going to click and drag up on its own timeline and increase that to about a second. Well, about 1.25 seconds. And now when I play a note and lift off, it will last longer. And that sounds much more natural. Now we can play some chords during the recording, but I am going to disable the Retrolog analog bass track that we had recorded. Let's go ahead and record something with the sampler track. And if you wanted to add another sound out of that Kaleidoscope library, you would just add another sampler track and then drag the new sound onto that in the sampler control window, and you can add as many sampler tracks as you want. And next I'll show you audio tracks.